Hello and welcome. I did not want to watch this film. I wanted to stay ignorant and refuse to watch it because I don't believe that it deserved to be the highest grossing movie of all time due to inflation cost. And I had no interest, but because Animal Kingdom had to decide to create its own land all about it, Avatar was released in 2009 and it was directed by James Cameron, same person that did Titanic. And Titanic is a fantastic film. I'll give them that. It is almost perfection and it's interesting to watch and it makes me bawl every single time. I hate it. But it's also based on history, so you have a lot to work with there. Avatar is his own creation and he wrote it and directed it. This film is also very long. It is 2 hours and 42 minutes, making it basically 3 hours long. And I gave it a chance as I'm watching this. The first hour, it was decent. I was really enjoying the visual masterpiece, and this is what it is known for. The atmosphere, what they were able to create with the worlds, that is where the technical talents are, and it is very visually stunning. However, past that, it falls flat on its face. The story is very mundane. It's literally an alien version of Pocahontas. There's no way around it. It is literally an alien version of Pocahontas. That's it. His name is Jake Sully, by the way. Same initials. Jake Sully, John Smith. Coincidence? I don't think so. And I understand, I'm going back to Titanic for a moment, because Titanic is the same exact thing. Where Titanic is a very long film too, and it follows the same formula. Titanic, you get the beginning of the film where everything is happening and you're settling into the scene, but as soon as you hit the major climax, it turns into real time. The last hour is literally an hour as it happens. There's no realism, hyper-realism. It's literally, this is what's happening. These people are dying and you're living it minute by minute. Avatar is the exact same way, where you're introduced to the characters, you're getting settled into scenery. Once you hit the climax, then it's just these gigantic drag along scenes where you literally have 20 minutes of fighting and nothing happens except for the fighting and what's happening in real time.
Jake, it's crazy here. Quaritch is rolling and there's no stopping him.
We're going up against gunships with bows and arrows.
Well, I guess we better stop him.
Visually, it's fantastic, but film is not film without a story to tell. And that's the great thing with Walt Disney. Walt Disney wanted to take these fairy tales and put them into great, fantastic animated sequences. And he was able to create fantastic cinema with it. So there are many different parts of film which all are very important to each other. But in my personal opinion, I feel like if you're not gonna have a fantastic story as a backbone, you're not gonna do well with it, because visuals can only get you so far when you're creating a narrative story. You can be visually fantastic and make it avant-garde, but you need a certain style with it. This was too simplistic. They focused way too much on the visual aspects of it and the other world to be the impressive factor, and the story fell so flat. There was no characters that I cared about. The only person I liked was Trudy, and she was a minor character. Sigourney Weaver's character, didn't care about it. Jake Sully, didn't care about him. And then we have Gamora. I don't know what she's doing here because she didn't add anything. Zoe Saldana is the actress, and I really do love her because she is Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy. A favorite movie of mine, a favorite franchise of mine, and Gamora is such a fantastic, badass character. This one, no, it didn't work well for me. There was nothing that she really could work with. It was a whiny Pocahontas.
I trusted you!
Trust me now, please.
Oh, God! Guys, like you not be happy! You will never be one of the people!
Pocahontas had more depth to her than she did. And it's supposed to be emotional. I've mentioned before, I cry over the littlest things in films. I cried over Darby O'Gill and the Little People, a movie about leprechauns. I cried over that. This one, I had no emotion and attachment to any of these characters. I did not care about them one bit. And it is an old enough movie now that I can say what happens, so spoiler in case you haven't seen it, but we're gonna go with a spoiler right now. Sigourney Weaver's character dies, and they're not able to revive her. Apparently this was an emotional scene. I didn't care. I had no emotion. Literally my reaction was this during the entire time. I had no reaction. I could not get involved with the story because there was such a lack of story. It was so lackluster. The characters had no depth and nothing happened. It was just a bunch of fighting. They were focused more on too much technical. And technical is great. Obviously it's good to show your talent, but it can be done. The last 3 movies we watched, Studio Ghibli shows that right there. Every single film that Miyazaki does is filled with such heart and emotion. The characters are so memorable, the animation is beautiful, and they have such imagination with it. That's how you do it. This was lazy. For American cinema, this was lazy, and it does not deserve to be the highest gross film of all time, because the only reason it's so high grossing is because it was so expensive to go see it because they pushed it in 3D. Now when it comes to Animal Kingdom and why they picked this property as an intellectual property to put into the parks, I do understand where they're coming from. Like I said, the atmosphere is gorgeous and it's very different from what we've seen, but it's not that different. And I know they're trying to come out with a franchise. Every single film has been postponed for who knows when, but there's supposed to be a series about it. If they were going to do it, I feel like they should have waited until a couple more movies went and see how it is, because otherwise this might not do well the second one or the third one if they're doing, and it could flop and it's just completely reverse. The floating mountains are nice and it is very pretty to be in, but there's nothing spectacular about it. I went into the park and saw it before I watched the film, but now that I have seen the film I can understand the pieces they put into it. And
disappointed. I thought it was going to be a lot more fantastic. Maybe in the daytime, but
I mean, I like how it looks at night. I think it really does look pretty, and
too dark.
I like that though. It
Yeah,
gives
I
it that
think
nice
it
black light
needs
feel
to be
to
a little
it,
brighter.
but it's the bioluminescent light. That's
But
the whole
it's not
purpose.
bioluminescent.
Yes, it is. It's like black light. You're not gonna see everything in black
Brightening
light.
now.
That's the point. It's natural, and it very is beautiful, but it does seem like an alien planet. I will give them that. It does seem like the pods are eggs for animals to hatch out of. It gives me like a predator feel. So it gives me the alien planet. You can enjoy the land without seeing the film. We went on the boat ride and it's pretty, but nothing special. Literally, it's a 110-minute wait right now. Let's see how long it takes with our fast pass.
Kathy Charles, go right in and enjoy your journey.
not worth 2 hours waiting in line, but Fast Pass, it was really pretty.
I wasn't impressed.
I'm disappointed.
I didn't think it was that spectacular. It was pretty lights, but honestly I could do that any time in my room. And it was very short too. And I didn't get to do Flight of Passage because we went in December and I couldn't get a fast pass for it, and lines were literally like 3 hours long. So that does look like a very promising ride. And the idea and the concept that you can ride a Banshee is very promising, and it does make a really great ride. So I still have to wait and see how I feel about it. I probably will love it. Everyone has given it really rave reviews. So in that aspect, the fact that you can ride a Banshee and the floating mountains and the atmosphere and the river is very gorgeous and breathtaking. So I do understand what they went with that, and they took those pieces. But as a whole, there's really nothing spectacular about it. And we don't know what's going to happen with the storyline because we've only had this film, which is basically all about the war, and they resolve it, but it ends there. We don't know anything else about the science work that they're doing and how the humans are able to live along with the nav'i, etc. like that. So it's very hard to tell how it's going to turn out in the future. But I still feel like it's a mistake on their part. It is beautiful, but it's just scenery. That's it. There's nothing added to it. And I really wish that they could have done Beastly Kingdom, especially because Animal Kingdom as a whole was the only park that didn't have anything intellectual property wise in their park. It was Africa, you have Asia, you have Dino Land. It was all places that are legit places in the world, and they're not based on anything imaginary. Everything was realistic, and they were able to incorporate the characters to each of the lands so smoothly and seamlessly. By putting Pandora in there and putting a fictional land, it just screws up the nature that you have and the image of the park. It changes the entire image of the park, and not for the better. If they did, I understand they have the past with the dinosaurs, they have the present with all of our animals, and they wanted to do imaginary with Beastly Kingdom. I really wish they could have worked something else around it, because that would have been so much better than just having a property all about Pandora. It would have been cooler to see unicorns and dragons and be able to work things around it and make it just like the rest of the lands, where you could have put in different characters from the movies that are Disney films instead of reaching from 20th Century Fox films. I'm not a fan. I know not everyone is going to be a fan, and I know a lot of people do admire this film. And like I said, it does have some fantastic work with it. It's not a terrible film. I tried it out and I was able to experience the land, and I appreciate that I was able to experience it. And I do like the fact that I can glow, but it's just still is very lackluster for what they could have done and what they've given us. So I'm sure there are fans, and I'm sure I'll get hate on this, but this is these are my thoughts. That's it. We're gonna finish up the month tomorrow with another humongous intellectual property. Something I enjoy a lot more, and I feel like has a lot better presence with Star Wars. So stay tuned, and as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.